This, I'm holding the book named Chidushei Yerucham al HaRambam. Yerucham is my grandfather, father of Dr. Zorach Warhaftig, Yerucham Asher, and he has written, my grandfather has written 8 Torah books, Chidushei Torah books. And this is the third one, which was published in 1945. And in this book, my grandfather brings a letter which he had written to my father, who was then in London after the war in one of the 3 missions he had to the, how do you call the Akurim, Machanot Akurim, to the camps of the Jews who remained after the war.
Displaced, the DP camps, displaced.
So there are several very interesting things here. One of them is that my father writes to my son that the Hagaon HaAmiti, Rabbi Eliezer Yudah Finkel Shlita, the Rosh HaYeshiva Shel Admir, he was sitting in Kaidan and giving a shir to the Talmidim, and suddenly a young man came into him and he started crying, shouting, "Why are you sitting here? Do you want Chas v'Shalom to be killed by the killers, by the Nazis?" So the rabbi said, "Who are you?" So he said, "I'm Zorach Warhaftig, and I have come intentionally from Kovna to try to arouse you to leave this place of danger, Lithuania." So he asked Dr. Warhaftig, "How do we do that?" So Dr. Warhaftig said, "I will arrange everything." And that's what happened, and my father and Dr. Warhaftig saved the Gaon Rab Finkel and his yeshiva. And then my grandfather says that this story was like, in Hebrew you say shemen ba'atzamot, oil in the bones. That means something very pleasant and wonderful. The story how my grandfather's son, my father, succeeded in saving the Mire Yeshiva, and also many other rabbis and the yeshivot, without asking to which party do you belong and politically looking. No. And another thing, my grandfather says that another story was told to him by Rabbi Ze'ev Shlita Abad the Bris, that's Rav Velvele. Rav Velvele came to Kovna, I also didn't remember that, with his sons to help in evacuating Lithuania. And then he wanted to come to my father to help him. But he couldn't come in because always there was a big line before my father's room. Many people came to ask help from my father. So Rav Velvele called my father and said, "Zorach Yakiri, you know me." Of course he knows. He was studied the whole summer at Rav Velvele, with Rav Velvele. "I'm the Rav of Brisk and I can't reach you." So my father said, "You stay where you are. I leave everything for a while and I'm coming to you." He was his rabbi. He was my father's rabbi for a whole summer, 20 years before.
This was in Warsaw.
No, this story was in Kovna.
He was his rabbi in Warsaw.
In Warsaw, a whole summer. And then my father came and helped him and arranged everything for him and for the family. I don't know if the Brisker Rov came through Japan. I think my father arranged to him through Turkey. I'm not sure. But Rabbi Aaron Kotler, you know.
Sure.
My father saved him through Japan. And once my father, the train from Kobe to Yokohama, Tokyo, took 12 hours. So my father, we lived in Tokyo, in Yokohama, but my father had to go all the time to the Jews to arrange things. So once my father went 12 hours to Kobe, and then 12 hours back to Yokohama, And then he received a telegram that a famous rabbi has arrived from Lithuania, maybe Rabbi Aaron Kotler. So my father immediately went again 12 hours. And when we came in 96, this is called the bullet train. It took us only 3.5 hours from Kobe to Yokohama. So my father helped him, and there's the third story about the British consul Macpherson, who became my father's personal friend, and he helped very much in hundreds, I think thousands of visas, not to Japan. This is another story. It's also written in much detail in the book. I suggest you read it. But here it's also written about it. It was already after the British consulate in Kovna was closed by the Soviets. So you know what he did? He left my father a big
Blank.
a big parcel of blanks with it was already even after he couldn't even sign, because he signed as much as he could, and then he had to go away. So my father found Jews who knew how to forge these things, and they succeeded in saving another hundreds of Jews with these.
And this was from the British consul.
And it was in his agreement of the British consul, Macpherson.
He was a consul in Kovna as well, in Kaunas.
Yes, that means that there were also British good people. But here it's written much more in detail in the book. But I'm telling you what is written here.
So this part is not very well known. This part of this very important part of our history is not very well known.
This is not known. Maybe when I finish the PhD, maybe I will enter it. I think you should. There is. Okay.
Emanuel, I really would like to thank you so very much for giving of your very valuable time. You're studying for your PhD, and here you relating what your father, the deeds of your father, what he did to save thousands and thousands. Even saving one person in itself is like saving the world. And your father managed to save more than one person. He saved thousands. And his memory should be for a blessing. And I just want to thank you really so much.
I want also to say one more word about my mother. When they left Warsaw, ran away from Warsaw, my mother was pregnant with me, and at the beginning they had thought that she would stay. Maybe something will happen for good, they will be able to go back to Warsaw. But at the last minute my mother said to my father, "I'm not leaving you," took a toothbrush and came. And that's why you see me here.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I'd like you to put it in the movie, this anecdote.
We will for sure.